I have a fantastic episode of Tumblr Deep Dive in store for you today. So you may be looking at me and thinking, huh, that's pretty impressive that you managed to keep that shirt for an entire decade. And the joke would be on you because I bought this recently. We are experiencing a minor renaissance of the Twilight fandom. These are presumably adults who liked Twilight as kids and teenagers who are just making Tumblr blogs about it again. I found one of these blogs a couple months ago and I followed it. I thought it was hilarious. I figured it was just one person, but it's not. This is a bit of a small phenomenon going on Tumblr of people just getting into Twilight. I really want to look at this today because it's just so funny and so inexplicable. And I kind of get it because I myself, without knowing that this exists, relatively recently hate watched all of the Twilight movies. Hate watch. It started as a hate watch, but we genuinely had a great time. Okay, we have entered the Twilight tag. The plot of Breaking Dawn. Bella will have sex, she will get pregnant and die. That's about it, yeah. I picked up some Twilight Barbies at Goodwill. Edward and Jacob were fine, though I wish they'd come with their clothes. Bella had glue head. Excuse me? Did they legit restore some Twilight Barbies just for the heck of it? Hook up with kinky singles. Oh, Tumblr. Oh, Tumblr, you special, special place. It's the Twilight Renaissance, baby! Me shamelessly writing Mary Sue like self-insert fix because it's 2019, life is hard, the world is figuratively and literally on fire, and I need every shred of positive energy I can get. Draw your favorite character getting it on. Make that saucy self-insert. Make your original characters over the top. Do it all, even for the cringy fandoms. My flesh is mortal, but my soul is unwavering. Cringe culture is dead, and I'm bringing in its corpse for the reward money. That's it! This is what you see when Carlisle's about to fist you. This fandom has zero chill. Okay, this is a Carlisle fan blog. It says, Carlisle is the bee's knees. If you didn't read all the Twilight books in 5th grade like I did, Carlisle is the dad guy who turned them all into vampires. If you don't like Carlisle, click here. This is exactly something that I would have done on my Tumblr and been super proud of in like 2011. I used to have like all of the buttons that were like archive, ask on Tumblr. I used to have all of those lead to different pictures of Nicolas Cage. Early Tumblr was high culture, what can I say? Twilight on Maine? It's more likely than you think. There's something wildly funny about the ՀЭОNS keeping a painting of the Volturi in their house even though they hate them. I know this was meant to be a funny post, but having recently read all the books, I would say Carlisle definitely does not hate them. He disagrees with them. We're getting into the Twilight discourse, okay. Listen, I'm 22 now. My pretend hatred for the Twilight franchise is over. I love them all and will watch them all the time, as many times as I want to. I am being dragged back to childhood so hard. Oh god, someone did the face app thing on them. I hate that. Fight scenes. Toxic by Britney Spears. Sneaky scenes. Pink Panther theme. Tomfoolery scenes. Cantina band from Star Wars. Romantic scenes. My heart will go on. The shitty flute version. Someone do this for Twilight. LMAO. I know it's coming. I know it's coming! The urgency and fear in Edward's voice when he says, "You need to see what I look like in the sunlight," does not make sense. Bro, you just sparkle, that's literally it. It's not a big deal. Why are you such a dramatic whore? This is truly no reason for him to be like that. Eddie boy just be like that sometimes. Edward B. Cullen, and the B stands for it be like that sometimes. There's so many just dramatic slow motion scenes in this movie. When we were kids, there was such an obligation to hate it, to just be like, no, I don't like Twilight, it's for dumb girls. Cause romance and boys was icky, and girls who like that were shallow and stupid, you know? At least that's how it was, like, in my experience being, like 9 to 12 when Twilight was popular. I read it in 5th grade. I read it when I was 10 or 11. There was such an obligation to rebel against it if you were a cool woke kid. And I feel like we just don't have the energy to be like that We don't have the energy to be like that anymore. At least my experience of watching it now, I could kind of just be like, this is dumb, but it's so funny. And I felt like this was perfect for a Tumblr Deep Dive episode because my channel is so often about loving things that are just so weird and dumb and inexplicable. It sparks joy, if you will. And, yeah. So I see why people are just kind of having a crisis and being like, everything sucks, but you know what brings me joy? Twilight. Some people are, like, legit in the discourse, like, seriously still into it, but a lot of people seem to be doing this low-key ironically. Like, there are definitely some vlogs here that seem serious. And then a lot are just like, here's some Twilight memes I felt like making in the year of our Lord 2019. Anytime I glimpse fandom culture on Tumblr anymore, I'm just like, Tumblr fandom culture trips me out. Because my stupid lizard brain thinks it's 2011 for a minute, you know? There's also a lot of Batman related stuff, because apparently Robert Pattinson was just cast to play Batman in something. Send me your thirstiest Twilight confessions. I would rather not. Twilight AU, where everything is the same but James is James Charles. I am Laurent, this is Victoria and James. Hi sisters. James smells Bella. James, you've brought a sister snack? I'm gonna leave, like, so many times in this video. I can't with this. I'm having a spiritual experience today. This is all the dialogue, but it's just switched out to be James Charles adding sister cinematic parallels. Also, in this particular scene in the movie, there's a whole ass part where they're just explaining mitosis. Like, whoever was writing this was like, yeah, what did we learn in 10th grade biology that we can have them banter about? So they just have they talk about mitosis for too long. Okay, but imagine watching Bella and Edward's relationship from the outside. Like, okay, this new girl moves to a school, she starts dating that really weird guy from that really weird family, and then he leaves her and she's like really depressed for 6 months, and then he comes back, and like 6 months later, you're invited to their wedding. I would be like, bitch, what the fuck? And then they go on their honeymoon, only to have him come back and be like, oh yeah, she's dead now, so sad. That sounds like an episode of one of those true crime shows where they know he murdered her but never have evidence to prove it. Oh god. Oh god, it does. And we were all super woke 12-year-olds to be like, yeah, actually, Edward's gross and creepy. Like, no shit, but that's why it's funny. That's why it's funny, okay? That is why in this house we love Twilight. Because it's, everything about it is, why would you do this? But it is iconic. It is actually really iconic in its own way. I would recommend watching the first 2 movies, I think. Because they're like peak Twilight, and they're genuinely like pretty entertaining movies. The 3rd one sucks. The 2 parts of the 4th one are fine. Watch the first Twilight movie and have a spiritual experience. I encourage all of you to. Okay. I remember reading the Twilight books in middle school and wondering, why don't Edward and Jacob just chill and allow Bella to date both of them, since they supposedly love her so much and having to choose hurts her? Yeah, it's unconventional, but seeing as one's a vampire and the other's a werewolf, they should all be able to handle a little more strangeness. It's a no-brainer. I was proud of myself because I thought I had actually invented the entire concept of polyamory. Now that's peak woke 12-year-old. People really be writing Twilight fanfiction these days. I'm not gonna read it, but I'm glad that people are finding joy in this and are unashamed to say, I like this thing that was known as peak cringy for like the past decade. Twilight Renaissance, quality shit. So yeah, as usual, if you're gonna go check out this Tumblr community, please be respectful to them. We've had issues in the past with certain blogs I look at, or certain communities overall just getting a lot of unwanted, disrespectful attention. Probably gonna have to say this in all my Tumblr deep dive videos from now on, but please be nice to the Twilight fandom. In 2019, we proudly stand Twilight. Ironically, does anyone know anymore? Also, can vampires nut? I mean, he got Bella pregnant. Is it just venom, or is it actual nut? Is venom the same as nut? I think it's nut with venom-esque properties. If venom is the same as nut, and venom is the fluid that keeps them alive. What am I reading? Keeps them alive and shit, and nut is stored in the balls. Does that mean the ball is vampire-like? I have no idea what I just read with my own 2 eyes. Not to state the obvious, but the outrage over Robert Pattinson being cast as Batman is a direct product of the homophobic jokes made about Twilight 10 years ago. The camp that sees Batman as someone who has to be hyper-masculine and dark cannot stand the thought of an actor who has been associated with a franchise targeted at teenage girls 10 years ago. Also, most of them are probably completely unaware that he has done movies since where he could really show his range as an actor, and I am so tired. Edward is typically, he's not a very hyper-masculine character. He's very, like, perfect and clean and groomed and pretty. Twilight was woke the whole time, actually. Please don't quote me on that. I'm kidding. Of course Twilight has a lot of problematic shit in it, but Twilight fandom, I am back. Game of Thrones is cancelled. So, Edward is Batman now? What if I am not the hero? What if I am the coolest hero, Bella? There's a quote in the movie, possibly the books, where he's like, what if I'm not the hero? As if to imply, like, I'm dark and brooding and I'm the bad guy and I drink blood. This is my bat wings, apparently. Wait, bats vampires. Is this why everyone in Twilight is freaking out over Edward being Batman? Because these vampires are also bats. Was this obvious? Am I a dumbass? I don't know. 10 reasons Batman and Edward Cullen have always been the same person and we just never realized it. Edward is supposedly a vampire. Vampires turn into bats. That's what I just said! Pretty boy bachelor loner. The heir to a successful / wealthy family of sorts. The menacing throaty voice. The constipated scowl. Watching from the shadows while you sleep. Yeah, as soon as they said that, I was like, Edward's such... that he's cast as Batman, I'm like, if anything, the character of Edward is so, like, broody, constipated man that I feel like that's how I see Batman, too. So the recent Batman casting, I guess, is bringing up some of this old discourse. I do think that the cultural hatred of things geared towards teenage girls, it is usually disproportionate to how bad those things actually are. Like, Twilight is bad, but it's not as bad as we all thought it was. I actually saw a really good video. I don't think it's a super new video, but it was a video by Lindsay Ellis basically talking about all of this stuff. I think it was a fantastic video and you should watch it. What is this? Imagine being married to Spock and getting to cuddle him. And it's a picture of Edward and Bella's wedding with the Tumblr anonymous icon and Spock photoshopped onto their faces. Someone made that. Also another thing, for all of the legitimately bad and problematic things about Twilight, the soundtrack slaps, especially in the first movie. Absolutely iconic. Then a doctor walked around the corner and my mouth fell open. This is from the book, by the way. He was young, he was blonde, and he was handsomer than any movie star I'd ever seen. He was pale, though, and tired looking. That's her type, obviously. With circles under his eyes. From Charlie's description, this had to be Edward's father. Here's the thing. It's bad. But you can like it anyway. Let's just like bad things 2K19. Edward being happy, mood board. Adorable. Look at this man being wholesome. Okay, but in 2018, you know Forks High School would have a meme page and all the cliques would have running jokes in their group chats. The memes would be about the Cullens and how weird they are, and someone would be like, I saw Rosalie Hale take a bite of an apple today, and another person would be like, sounds fake but okay, and people would constantly be making jokes about Cullen family incest, and there would be a running gag of what diet are the Cullens on this week. So just imagining the Cullens being half cryptid, half meme at Forks High. And this deserves all of its almost 4,000 notes because yes. Walk us through that truly iconic baseball scene. Oh lord.
So yeah, the baseball scene is near and dear to my heart. I wish we did it in every movie. I think it would have been a cool statement piece.
Oh shit, wait! These are reblogged from an official Twilight account. So this was like genuinely, like the cast members were making this in... Oh shit. Oh shit. Oh shit. Okay. They have no header image. The official Twilight... At least hide your header... When was their last... Oh my god. This has to be inactive. When was their last post? Twilight 10th anniversary! 25th of October 2018. Okay, so before September of 2018, their last post had been December of 2013. So I guess they kind of like came back to get everyone hyped for the 10th anniversary. We have Kristen Stewart with Stephanie Meyer as the woman with the brown hair, and I assume the other woman is the director of the movies? Can't believe it's been 5 years since the first Twilight movie. What does 2014 have in store for you? Oh my lord. This entire thing is just... I'm speechless. Let me save my screen recording here so that we can make a nice video. The Twilight Renaissance is a thing that's happening. It's honestly kind of great and wholesome to see people reclaiming something that was so cringy and subjected to so much hatred that was rooted in misogyny a lot of the time. It's just nice to see people being happy and liking things. I'm absolutely here for the Twilight Renaissance. I think it's great. I wore this in public today. Quick announcement, I finally have a P.O. box. Yay! Wow. Send me some Twilight merch. Send me some fan art. Send me whatever you want. Thank you ever so much for watching, friends. And I will see you in another video very, very soon.